Yo, what's good, everyone? This is Ayo Boxing with Madiba, and we're here to talk about if Josh Taylor ducked Jack Catterall to fight Teofimo Lopez instead. Now, this is something that I've been seeing online ever since the news broke that Taylor and Teofimo Lopez entered negotiations to fight, and I think there's some validity to these claims that Taylor ducked Jack Catterall because the whole situation stinks of something fishy. The Taylor Catterall rematch was initially supposed to happen in November of last year, but then it was pushed back to March of this year. Then Taylor suffered a foot injury that postponed the fight further because Taylor stated that he needed at least 6 to 8 weeks before he can train again. However, Taylor was at the Yard Better Be a fight and he attempted to fight Jack Catterall at ringside. So, was Taylor truly ever hurt? I don't know, but I'll give him the benefit of the doubt because if you remember, the first fight was also postponed over a shoulder injury that Taylor suffered. However, Catterall believes that Taylor was never in a rush to give him a rematch because of how close and tough the first fight was. In all actuality, Catterall deserved to win that first fight, but he didn't get the nod. And Taylor may have been waiting for another fight to present itself. And it looks like it worked because Catterall has stated, quote, "I'm done waiting for it." You have seen this morning the reports of Taylor Teofimo. They're talking about fighting. So we kind of got the March 25th date as a keep busy active date. I'm not convinced the Josh fight is going to happen now. He's pulled out more than once." End quote. It seems like Catterall has moved on from the rematch and is now looking for other big fights. He stated that he wants a Regis Prograis fight, and I believe this would be the best fight to make at 140. Regis is the WBC champion, and he has currently no one to fight, and the WBC has granted Regis a voluntary title defense, which means he can fight anyone he wants. Furthermore, Regis is looking to make the big fights as well, and he's called out Catterall in the past, so this would be the perfect matchup. The question is, will both fighters be ready by March 25th? It's already halfway through February, so time is limited. I don't think the fight will happen on March 25th, but I do believe that this fight will happen sometime this year. But I hope they prove me wrong and they do fight March 25th. But the talk of the town at 140 is Taylor versus Teofimo, and this is a good fight to be honest. From what I've seen so far, it seems like the UK fans would rather have the Catterall rematch, but the American fans seem to be fine with Teo fighting Taylor. You have to remember that Teo has been consistent on wanting to fight Taylor ever since 2021, and Taylor has been open to make that fight as well. Don't get me wrong, this is a good fight, a very good fight, but the circumstances of how it came about is shady to me. You can call this fight the Battle of the Ducks, since Teo ducked Regis and that's a fact, and Jack Catterall is claiming that Taylor's ducking him. It's like Donald Duck versus Daffy Duck, but let me stop playing around. And another thing that I've been seeing a lot lately, mostly from Taylor and Teo fans, is that Teofimo Lopez is a harder fight for Josh Taylor compared to Jack Catterall, and I strongly disagree. Yes, Teo is the more accomplished fighter and he's the bigger name compared to Catterall, but Catterall is the one who actually gave Taylor his hardest fight in his career. I mean, Catterall dropped Taylor in that fight and he arguably won that fight. I mean, he should have won that fight, but he didn't. So I don't see the logic of how Teo, a naturally smaller guy who has struggled at 140, is a harder fight than Jack Catterall. Now, the questions that I have are, can Taylor beat Teo and can Catterall beat Regis? My answer is yes and no. I think Taylor will beat Teo because Teo struggled against Sandor Martin, who's a southpaw. And yes, I know that Taylor and Sandor have different styles, but Teo was getting hit with the same punch, which was that southpaw right hook, and he couldn't make an adjustment. Based on that fact, I believe that Taylor can exploit Teo's lack of adjustments. However, I do believe that Teo has a chance because Taylor's style could benefit Teo's aggressive counterpunching style. But when it comes to Catterall versus Regis, I'm confident that Regis would beat Catterall. I mean, both of those fighters are good fighters, they're both southpaws, and I think the fight will be competitive, but after seeing what Regis did to Jose Cepeda, who is also a southpaw, I think that Regis would send Catterall to the shadow realm. But who knows, this is boxing, anything can happen. But thank you for tuning in with Ayo Boxing with Madiba. Hit like and subscribe, and more content's coming your way.